On New Year's Day 1984, a TV broadcast titled Good Morning, Mr. Orwell aired to over 25 million viewers. It was broadcast simultaneously by New York's WNET, FR3 French National Television in association with Centre Pompidou in Paris, and WDR in Cologne. All around the world, millions of people tuned in to watch what would become a disastrous, beautiful mess of video art, political messaging, and the world's leading artists, musicians, writers, and activists, all on public television. And so, at 2 a.m. in New York City, 11 p.m. in Los Angeles, and 4 p.m. in South Korea, over 25 million viewers tuned into the broadcast. But how did 25 million people end up glued to their screens, eager to watch a radical video artist's work? The answer, as always, leads back to money and the quintessential concept that the production of the vast majority of our art comes from: viewership. This year, I started as a film production student here at UCLA. The decision to attend was a culmination of many years of making YouTube videos, editing freelance pieces, and creating video art to publish online. And so, in watching the story of Nam June Paik's Good Morning, Mr. Orwell, I began to think a lot about viewership, where and when it's important, and where my values on virality and the economy of viewers lie. I've spent so much of my life attempting to go viral, to have a video be a hit, have people listen, and have viewership. At this point in my life, there's still a part of me that wants that viewership, while part of me just wants to create for the sake of creation. When I make art, I want people to see, enjoy, and get something out of it. I'd like to work in the arts, and to do that, I need money, and right now it seems like the best way to get money is through viewership. In her essay, Free Labor, Producing Culture for the Digital Economy, Tiziana Terranova argues that there's a historical connection between the arts and free labor. She states that the conditions that make free labor an important element of the digital economy are based on a difficult, experimental compromise between the historically rooted culture and the effective desire for creative production. In other words, humans desire to create. We make art to fulfill us and consume art to feed our creativity. YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram are filled with pieces of art that have taken hundreds, if not thousands, of hours to produce. People like me spend their time uploading to YouTube with no tangible payoff other than the number on our screen, a dopamine hit from a comment, and the possibility of viewership. Barriers to creating art and consuming art that come from our socioeconomic structures are the only thing inherently economic about art. However, because we have this desire to create art, and because art is so heavily commodified in our culture, it's often taken advantage of by the corporations that run the modern internet. In 1964, Nam June Paik moved to New York City. He grew up in Seoul, Korea, but after fleeing the Korean War in 1950, his family moved to Japan, and later Germany. In Germany, he met one of his most consistent collaborators, John Cage, an experimental composer who he took inspiration from. In New York, he helped create and foster a community of artists, which included Cage's choreographer and dancer, Merce Cunningham, poet and activist Allen Ginsberg, cellist Charlotte Moorman, and artist Shiego Kubota, who he later married. He created works like One for the Violin Solo in 1962, Robot K-45 in 1964, Global Groove in 1973, and TV Buddha in 1974. While these installations all had moderate success, Paik still took the form of someone who we think of as a starving artist. It wasn't until TV Buddha, arguably the most palatable of his works, that Paik began gaining financial success from his art. TV Buddha is a simple installation. It consists of a Buddha statue sitting on a table which is looking at a TV in front of it. Behind the TV, there's a camcorder on a tripod which is pointed directly at the Buddha statue. A wire runs out of the tripod into the television, which broadcasts the image of the Buddha on the TV that is subsequently being watched by the same statue. This artwork is simple. Compared to his many intricate robots, performance pieces, and art installations that twisted the reality of what a TV could do, and the ways in which the medium was supposed to be viewed by the public, TV Buddha feels mundane. Yet TV Buddha is the installation that brought Paik the most success. It threw Paik into the public spotlight, and in turn he continued making similar pieces like Stone Buddha Burnt TV and TV Buddha in 1982. The similar pieces took inspiration from TV Buddha, using elements but flipping some pieces of the artwork on its head. Since I've been in school, I've been getting the itch to make art again. I feel like I go through phases. Sometimes I want to create art all the time. I'll be engrossed in it every second of my waking day, wanting to write, create, film, just to make something that I love. In the process of college applications, I feel like I lost a little bit of that spark. I wrote so many times about my life up until this point. My creative pursuits became my identity. My life became a list of condensed creations that culminated in this beautiful place where I am now, surrounded by hundreds of friends, artists, musicians, and amazing people. I want to make art, but I also want to live. To have family, food on the table, and a place to call home. I want friends and creativity surrounding me and pushing me to make the best art I can. I came from a family of artists. People who put their passion above everything else and created stability for themselves in an environment that is, in its deepest form, under a capitalist society, positioned to fail. I deeply understand the mentality of setting the future generation of artists up to create an environment where they can make money, to have a comfortable life, and make art without the fear of going hungry. Maybe you're an artist who's never been seen. One who spent your life posting on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or, God forbid, Tumblr. And maybe, like me, you've been constantly monitoring algorithms and click-through rates that make no sense whatsoever. Maybe you made it big. Maybe once your videos got clicked on by hundreds or thousands or millions or hundreds of millions of people. An artwork got shown in a gallery. A piece you made reached an audience who wanted to see it, and maybe that made you feel good. But in the long run, did that good come from the clicks, from the possible money in your bank account, or from the possibility of making more and more money? Or was that thrill born from the idea of viewership? Did you want your work to be viewed for the sole reason that it's what needs to happen in order to create art forever? Or were you really just making it to make money? Because if you're in the arts just for a living, just to make money and get famous and move to a mansion in Hollywood, or if that's what you're telling yourself in order to create art, I want you to look inward and think about what really brings you joy. For me, the process of creating art is the best thing in the world. To get my hands on a new script that I can talk about for hours, get behind the desk editing and lose track of time until the sun rises in the sky, and publish my work so it can be seen by people who it will bring joy to, is the best thing in the world. To make art in our current society is undeniably awkward. We value things that we do based on whether the time was well spent. And if you're only valuing your time on the profit it can bring you, art is inherently a waste of time. Nam June Paik's work is undeniably stunning. It explored video through a lens that has not been seen before. However, in many ways, Paik's art was not valued in a financial sense until after TV Buddha was released. In a society that continuously disvalues the process of creating to learn, it is increasingly important to push back against that by making bad art, because it is only in making bad art that we learn to make better art. Right now, our society is moving towards creating with AI, having it do the learning for us rather than failing, revising, and retrying, and dissolving paid internships that should be a stepping stone to gaining better work habits and practices. I will never fault someone for making art to make money, to put food on the table, and create a life for themselves that they want to create. But I will always push for morals over money. And even if your art crumbles into a beautiful mess of sound and drunken fumblings, backed by broken TV visuals, it's still worth it to create. To make something, learn and learn again. To become someone who creates for the sake of creating, fails for the sake of failing, because the artist who is never seen is the artist who brought something creative into the world. One who took the time to dream, and who brought their thoughts into reality in the way only an artist can.